ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, now we completed the Adhyasa Bhashya last time. So any questions, any clarifications on that?
Swamiji, I have a
Yeah, Prashant.
It was actually about something that you explained a few classes ago.
Yeah.
The Pancha Khyati.
Yeah.
So you mentioned there that everyone actually understands that or experiences that what they see as the world is something different to what it actually is.
Yeah.
Right. So when they say that, then itself there is an adhyasa that is accepted by everyone, isn't it, Swamiji? Right?
In a way, they may not specify it as Adhyasa. They see why is the Panchakhyati quoted by Shankara there? It is quoted to show that everybody recognizes that what we take as the world and what the world is different. All other schools are not necessarily accepting Adhyasa, but they are accepting that it is not what it seems to be.
Yeah. But the moment they say that, okay, we have taken something else as what it is, then also it is not Adhyasa, is it? Because
no, it is Adhyasa, but they have their own dialectical explanation for what they think it is. See, your explanation will depend upon the philosophy that you subscribe to, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
But the moment we say there is some sort of an adhyasa, isn't it a given that it can go only through knowledge? Because so, for example, whatever if it is anyata khyati or atma khyati or whatever, they clearly say that okay, you have mistaken something else for something else. So in that sense, then the nivritti for that or the that is only knowledge.
Why are they presenting it differently? Because they don't want to accept mithyatvam. If you accept adhyasa, you accept mithyatvam. So either you will say it is not true, it is not this, it's a confusion, etc., to avoid mithyatvam. Because the moment you bring in mithyatvam, then knowledge alone is the answer, nothing else. But you want to skip that and you want to stick to other things. So you want to stick to other things, then you have to dismiss the fact it is adhyasa. And give some other explanation. That is why all that they go hammer and tongs with all their arguments because of that. Yeah. Because see, in their darshana, moksha is something else. So if moksha is something else, then to justify that you have to explain this differently.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even this explanation of the different kyatis, they might have brought out only because Advaita says that there is a
yes.
Otherwise they wouldn't even have thought about...
exactly. There was no need to think about it, no? There is no need to think about any other explanation. You're forgetting one thing in all these questions, all of you are forgetting that adhyasa is not accepted. That is why they are giving different explanations. You're seeing a seashell as silver and giving 101 different explanations because you don't want to accept adhyasa. And Shankara is showing all of them to say only one point, that in everything you are saying it is not what it appears to be. So that is the whole thing. So don't say they are accepting adhyasa. They are not. Yeah. They are not accepting adhyasa. Because the moment you accept adhyasa, there is no argument, finished. There is no separate school, forget it. Yeah. But you want to maintain your identity. You want to maintain your identity in base of what you believe in and then talk about all this. Like if in my school of thought, Ishvara separate, I am separate. I can only be a bhakta. And then I have my idea of moksha, etc. based on that. Tell me, can you ever accept adhyasa? Ishvara is different from me. Can you ever accept adhyasa after that? There is no way you can accept adhyasa. Huh? Yeah, whichever school it is. If you say this much is, you are taking it. You can't. If you say there is no Ishvara, it may still be possible to accept adhyasa like science does. They don't call it adhyasa exactly, but they accept something. Yeah. Everyone accepts that what you see is not what it always is. That is the only common thread. What you see is not what it always is. That much is common. That's why he quoted all the 5 different khyatis he quoted for that. It is not what it is. Then now what is the question. So how do you explain it? So that will keep varying. Yeah. They'll have to say something else, no? Atma khyati, anitha khyati, all that. Confusion of perceptions, is that. All these things, arguments come because you don't want to accept adhyasa. Why? Because if you accept adhyasa, all your fundamental premises go out. Duality goes out. All the people who talk about this are dualistic schools. So then duality goes out of the picture. Yeah. Or they are Shunyavadins. Then Shunya also will go out of the picture.
But Swamiji,
Yeah?
isn't if you go with the definition of adhyasa as being atasmin tadbuddhi, then are they not, for example, confusing seeing a snake where there is a rope?
One second. You will say atasmin tadbuddhi, this is common. Okay? Then why did the atasmin tadbuddhi take place? Confusion of perceptions, one school. Projection, everything is inside, you project everything outside, another school. All of them are trying to avoid anirvachaniya khyati. That the world is sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. Because remember, we are not just talking about a rope snake or a seashell and silver. We are talking about you and me. The idea of you and me, the world. So you don't want to accept anirvachaniya khyati. Therefore, all these explanations and arguments come up. And Shankara, looking at all of them, says this much is common. Atasmin tadbuddhi is common. You can give your own explanation, but this much is true. Then on that he builds up the whole Adhyasa Bhashya. Yeah, everything is Adhyasa, correct. That means everything is Anirvachaniyam. That means anything you talk about from any standpoint is Anirvachaniyam. They are only functional standpoints. Whether it's science or economics or psychology, it's only a functional standpoint. Yeah. That's why it's a question of where is your emotional commitment. If it is purely intellectual commitment, there is no problem. Because you will change. When you are facing with facts, figures, arguments, you will change. But there is an emotional commitment also along with that. Can't avoid it. Yeah.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
Just on that, so for example, all those different kyatis, when they give an explanation for, say, the examples that we give, like rope snake or seashell to silver, but they themselves don't actually see that the individual has mistaken themselves as the body, or the world we think is actually
Yeah, that is taken as a, it is taken as a given.
Given that, okay.
Yeah,
They
taken
don't,
as, they don't question that.
extend that example to here. Okay, okay.
That is why Adhikaritvam with Vedanta starts with that, saying Atma and Atma Viveka.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if that's not there, what Vedanta are we studying? Yeah. It just becomes an academic topic. That's why we notice in this session that I've been taking, compared to the people who were there in the previous sessions, I'm making it much more personal. Because if that doesn't happen, it remains academic. Because there are a lot of arguments in the Brahma Sutras. So the trend of keeping it only intellectual is high. I comes into the picture. Can't avoid that. Yeah. That means what you have taken of as I is anirvachaniyam, not true. All your belief systems, all your knowledge systems, all your roles, everything you hold as sacred, everything that you dislike, everything you are willing to fight against and put your life on the line, all that is adhyasa. The idea of a nation, for me, that is very strong. Okay, I have put my life on the line for that. But adhyasa, you are drawing some lines on the land and saying this is this, this is this. Okay. What else is it? Isn't it true? Putting your life on the line is also mithya. Who said that is satya? You can't put your life on the line. You can only put your body on the line. This is where the difficulty comes in, when you have to personalize it. Yeah. See, the whole thing is not true, like, you know. Yeah. That's why he said, no, even Shastri Vyavahara is not true. Because that is taken as sacred those days. And if you take Shastri Vyavahara, then nationality comes in always. Because when you make your Sankalpa, Bharata Varsha is always mentioned. Jambudvipa, Bharata Varsha. Okay. Meroho Dakshinai Parshve, the south of the Meru. So, the idea of nation is always there. Because you're giving your location, no? You're giving your location. Yeah. So, in a sidelight, forget this idea that a nation is created later. It's Vedika. Boundaries keep expanding, contracting. That's a different thing. Those are geopolitical realities which keep changing. Yeah. Today is like this, tomorrow it may be bigger or smaller. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. And every nation is not enlightened enough, like Indonesia or Malaysia, to say that, you know. Indonesia especially. We change our religions, but our heritage is Indian. Our DNA is Indian. Yeah. So that is for the whole thing that Adhyasa has to be clear about this. Only then Vedanta will work. Okay. So that is the Sangati between the Brahma Sutras and the Bhashya. The connection is this. Because without Adhyasa you cannot have the whole thing. Then getting into the sutras. Okay. Getting into the sutra. Have you seen the definition of the sutra here before? Okay. No, not in this class. Okay. Alpaksharam, asandigdham, saravat, vishwatomukham, astobhyam, anavadyam cha, sutram iti sutravido viduhu. Alpaksharam. It should be brief. Brevity is the key here. Yeah. Alpakshara. Yeah. Asandigdham. Just because you are brief doesn't mean it should be full of doubts. It should be free from any doubt. Alpaksharam asandigdham. Saravat. It should be meaningful. It is not some odd words strung together like a shopping list. Saravat. It should have a lot of meaning behind it. Vishwato mukham. Should be able to answer more than one argument. It should have a lot of depth in it. Astobhyam. It should not have alphabets or words used to complete a meter, because there is no meter in a sutra. Astobhyam. Anavadyam cha. It should not have any grammatical errors. It cannot be like a WhatsApp message. Anavadyam cha. Should be grammatically correct. Have more than one argument. So what is a sutra? A sutra is a summary of an analysis. If you look at it.
What is the second word?
Huh?
Alpaksharam. After that?
Asandigdham.
Okay.
Huh? Saravat. Vishwa. Alpaksharam, asandigdham, saravat, vishwatomukam. It is a summing up of the whole analysis. You have made an analysis, summed it up in a sutra. So what does the Bhashya do? Elaborate the sutra and give you the whole arguments behind it. So what is the Bhashya then? Sutrartho varnyate yatrai, where the sutrartha is elaborated. Swapadani cha varnyante. If I have used some terminology, then I should explain my terminology as well. Iti bhashyam iti bhashyavido viduhu. This is called Bhashya. So it's very clear what it, what that is. Okay. So the Brahma Sutra has 4 chapters, 4 sections. Okay. The first is called Samanvaya Adhikaranam. The whole thing. Samanvaya Pada, not Adhikaranam, Samanvaya Pada. So the whole section is about Samanvaya. Samanvaya means what? To reconcile. There are Spashta Brahmalinga Vakyani, where the Brahma Vakyas are very clear. It is dealing with Brahman, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. There is no doubt this is dealing with Brahman. Then there may be some Vakyas which are called Aspashta Brahmalinga Vakyani. Not very clear whether it is dealing with Brahman or something else. Asadeva Damagramasit. So, it dealing with Brahman or dealing with something else? Aspashta Brahmalinga Vakyani. Not very clear. Or very clear. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Or Sadeva Saumedam Agramasит Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma. Very clear. So, Spashta Brahmalinga Vakyani, Aspashta Brahmalinga Vakyani, all of them analyzed together and show that the whole Veda is dealing with only this. First pada. Okay. Second pada is called Avirodhadhyaya. all the arguments against Vedanta picked up and answered. Whatever this was available at Shankara's time, okay? Yeah. But believe me, the same arguments can be used to answer modern arguments, modern challenges also. When I'll have the time to do that, I had to commit to my Guru Bhais. They'll make a small document on that. अभी तक चालू भी नहीं किया. So, Avirodha Adhyaya. So, arguments from Nyaya, from Sankhya, from all that. Buddhism, all those are answered. Avirodha Adhyaya is the second Adhyaya. Third Adhyaya is Sadhana Adhyaya, where is upasanas, meditations, etc. that is mentioned in the Upanishads is looked upon. Including behavior. You're a brahmachari and you have broken some brahmacharya rules. What is the prayaschitta available? What can be done? What, all those. Okay? So this is like not pure Vedanta, but to help you understand Vedanta, some things are mentioned, upasana, etc. All the sadhanas that mentioned in the Upanishad is dealt with. Okay. The last adhyaya is phalam, result. Result of the knowledge plus result of the upasanas. Both are mentioned. Okay. Dealt with what exactly is the result that you are hoping to get by doing any sadhana there. Primary result, secondary result. Okay. All that. So 4 adhyayas, the whole Brahma Sutras is dealt with. Now in each adhyaya there are many sutras. Okay. In fact, there are altogether some 555 sutras. Okay. Divided into the 4 chapters. And in each there will be what is known as an adhikaranam. An adhikaranam can be one sutra or many sutras clubbed together. What is an adhikaranam? It's a given topic. So you may have more than one sutra in a given topic or only one sutra. Like the first 4 sutras are 4 adhikaranas. First adhikarana is what? Jignasa adhikarana. Because only one sutra, athato brahma jignasa. Second adhikarana is called Janmadi adhikaranam, because again only one sutra, Janmadi asti ataha. Okay. Third is called Shastra Yonitva adhikaranam. Shastra Yonitvat is the sutra. In fourth is the Samanvaya adhikaranam, because Tattu Samanvayat, 4 sutras. In this class, we will deal only with the 4 sutras and the bhashya. Okay? So, how will you decide an adhikaranam? How will you decide an adhikaranam? So, to decide an adhikaranam, there is a book written by Vyasa himself, at least attributed, or by some later, I forget. I was trying to find the book, but pata nahi kidhar. It is called Vaiyasikya Nyaya Mala. Vidyarana Swami, yeah, Vidyarana Swami has written it. It's called Vaiyasikya Nyaya Mala. Vaiyasikya means what Vyasa has done, what has come from Vyasa. That's the Brahma Sutras. Tasya Nyaya Mala. Because each adhikarana should have a subject matter, should have a Purvapaksha, should have a Siddhanta, should have a Sangati with the Shastra. Correct? All these things it must have. Because otherwise, how do you decide which is which adhikarana? You take it that way, I'll take it this way. No. All the sutras should be one subject matter. There should be arguments against, arguments for. It should be connected with the Shastra. Subject matter should be there. So, if all these things are there, it is an adhikarana. That's why when you look at the first and the second sutras, you find subject matter is slightly different. Though subject matter for the whole sutra is what? There is one subject matter for the whole all the whole sutras. What is that?
Brahman.
Brahmeshwara, Jiveshwara Aikyam. Understand that? That is the, yeah. That's why Krishna in the Gita extends it further to say, Sarve tu akhilam karma jnane parisamapyate. Everything you do is supposed to end up in knowledge, finally. That's how you live your life. That is the Hindu or the Sanatana or the Hindutva way of life. That everything you do will end up in this knowledge. Why are you going for studies as a kid? So that I can grow, this will grow, develop. Okay. Why are you getting married? So an emotional maturity can come in. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing everything? Finally what? Why is all this necessary? Jnane parisamapyate. Vijnanam. Jiveshwara Aikya Jnana. Huh? Yeah, that's how it is meant to be. So it's okay. So people may not reach it in one lifetime. So people may not get it in one lifetime. They may get waylaid with something else. That's okay. How many lifetimes you have lived? If I am a teacher now and Naisargikoyam Loka Vyavahara from beginningless time, how many lifetimes I have lived? Yeah. I have lived in the times of great teachers, but that time I was not interested. Yeah. I was not interested with that. I had to mature out through those lifetimes. All of us here. Yeah. We have to mature out. Yeah. 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 Many lifetimes I was a student of war. That's why that comes naturally to me. Of gathering intelligence comes very naturally to me. But in all that maturity comes. Yeah. Preparation wise for a warrior it is very good. But motivation wise it may be less. You are not afraid of death, so it's a big deal. Change, natural. Kya bada baat hai? Finitude, big deal, I'll tackle that. So because if your competency is so high, you know, the samsaritvam is experience is less. Because competence is high, you can tackle things. You face a problem, mind jumps into the solution. Yeah. So it takes time, in that way it takes time. Preparation is high. But the mumukshutvam, it takes some time. So each has its plus and minus. Someone else who is not that competent, oh my God, problems here, I want freedom from all this. Mumukshutvam comes higher. But then they have to develop competency. So it's all a big game going on. Okay. इसको बोलते हैं संसार का खेल है ये. This is the play of samsara. Okay. So all of us have lived millions of lifetimes and we are here today. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. We are here now. Bas. So for each adhikarana, Madhusudana Saraswati gives 2 verses. Okay. One verse is a Purvapaksha, subject matter and Purvapaksha, introduces the subject matter and the Purvapaksha. And the second verse, he will give the Siddhanta. This is how it is. Okay. So, what is the first sutra or the first adhikarana is Athato Brahma Jignasa. Okay. Now, thereafter, therefore, we will have Brahma Jignasa, desire into the nature of Brahman. Okay, desire for Brahman is start. In brief, we will go into the elaborate meeting later on. Okay. So the question is, all right, how can you have Jignasa? What is Jignasa? Jnatum Ichha Jignasa. Okay. Thereafter, therefore, let us leave it for the time being. Brahma Jignasa. How can you have Jignasa for Brahman? Your desire is always for something which is known. The heart can desire only what the eye has seen. If you don't know, how do you desire? How can you have a desire for knowledge? Do you know Brahman? No. Then how can you have a desire to know Brahman? If you know Brahman, then you can say, हाँ मेरे को चाहिए. Okay. So there he says, there is an apata jnanam. This guy is going to the temple, Gurukula, etc., and they are doing Abhisheka. You chanting the Taittiriya Upanishad. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. That's all what has been poured. ये सत्य ज्ञानम अनंतम ब्रह्मन क्या होता है? What is that? Or he reads subculture books. Siddhartha, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, Illusions, the later two by Richard Bach. Good books. Will develop some interest into something unknown. Or you tried all the known things, is not working, let me try something different. So generally if you are into that, you will start with yoga or something like that. Yoga, Qigong, etc. you will start with. Why? Normal perspective of life is not helping. Let me try an ulta perspective. Stand on my head and see what happens. Normal things are not working. Let me try something abnormal. And in the process, the desire is not necessarily Brahman. The desire is for moksha. It starts like that. The desire is always for moksha. I have problems in life, I want to be free from that. That's why we put Adhyasa Bhashya in the beginning. Because the problem is Adhyasa. Na? It starts with Adhyasa. मेरे को ये गड़बड़ नहीं चाहिए. I'm a competent man, I can handle what life throws at me. But at all that, I'm still not happy. Or what the hell? I mean, I conquered the world and I'm Raja Adi Rajaha, etc., etc., etc. But am I a fulfilled person? No, yaar. So then, it is mokshecha. So Vedanta will work only if that mokshecha is converted to jignasa. The desire for moksha has to be converted into a desire for knowing the truth, knowing Brahman. This is part of the learning. Yeah. It takes time. And sometimes it becomes the teacher's job. It takes some time. Sometimes the whole Gita goes by before they have got the jignasa. Yeah, I'm not joking. Yeah. Because remember, it just starts with a Shubhecha, let me try something, I'm curious about it. Then little bit more, then it grows, now it is Brahma. So that's why you'll find in public there are various levels of teaching also. I have a Guru Ben. She teaches in an area where very well off people. Okay, very well off. 50,000 for a camp is nothing. A camp only 50,000, yeah, let's go for a camp. So what does she do? She combines camp and holiday, 2 classes, remaining time sightseeing, things like that. People love it. Array, it's such a beautiful experience we had. Shubhecha, that's all. Jignasa has not yet come. Takes a long time for it to become Jignasa. Will take a long time. But Shubhecha is there. And as a process of learning, may become more. Mokshechu, mumukshutva may become more, and that mumukshutva may get converted to Jignasa. Otherwise, as I said in my newsletter last time, we have sown the seeds. They will bear fruit. I will get him this lifetime or the next. Kidhar jayega? I mean, I will not get him, my students who are teachers will get him. मैं थोड़ी वेट करने वाला उनके लिए. Yeah, there are plenty of people. No? खाओ पियो मजा करो बस. Have a good time, yaar.
No, what I'm saying is like, it could be like something
In between. Yeah, true. Correct.
I didn't know what moksha.
Exactly. But you had a Shubhecha. You wanted to know something more about things and all that. It starts with Shubhecha. That's why I said. It starts with Shubhecha. Yeah. I was doing 101 things in life. This was one of them. Chalo, ये भी देख लेगा क्या है.
I had like different questions as to what happened after that.
Yeah.
My dad had passed away, so I wanted to know
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
so I had those kind of questions.
Starting point can be anywhere. Why? Because ultimately it's all connected to who you are. So starting point can be anything. Yeah. I know one guy who came to me just because he was fed up of the materialism in his family. Whole family viewed only in khao, piyo, maja karo, this, that, etc. All that. All of them were diabetic, had heart problems. Says, what is this life about like that? He got fed up of it. And he came to me. Just sheer fed up of it. The starting point can be anything. But finally, mumukshutvam is there in every heart, either discerned or not discerned. And some you understand, hey, what I'm seeing is for freedom from this sense of limitation. Some people it is vague. Hey, everything is not fine. I want this, I want that, I want that. So it expresses the desires. Give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. I want more of this, more of that, more of that. That's okay. That's all expressions of mumukshutvam actually. You're seeking freedom from your finitude. You don't know where to get it. Therefore, you're trying out all the things. Yeah. When you discern it, your search becomes more focused. And then when you come to get some exposure, you understand it is jignasa. No more mumukshutvam now. That mumukshutvam gets converted to jignasa. Hey, all your search is because of lack of moksha. You only need to get moksha. Okay, Swamiji, what should I do about it? You should know yourself. Okay, what will I do? That action orientation is high, no? Yeah. So the Guru will say, अच्छा ठीक है, थोड़ा पढ़ लो, थोड़ा सेवा भी कर लो. Because he wants to do, ना? अच्छा ये आश्रम अच्छा चलेगा. Yeah, because ashram, so many things have to be done. He always needs a few volunteers to get things done. And that seva bhava is good because it gets your mind ready. Whatever little fine tuning has to be done happens. When you work with the teacher, you understand things better. So that way, that much is good. Yeah. In olden times, there was a test for your commitment. How committed are you? Are you willing to do what it takes? Okay. Therefore, for each Adhikaranam, I said he has written 2 verses. Okay. So, the first Adhikaranam that we are going to see, there are 2 verses here. The Purvapaksha verse, okay. Avicharyam vicharyam va Brahmadhyasa nirupana asandehat asandehat afalatvaabhyam na vicharam tadarhati. Afalatvaabhyam, okay. Avicharyam vicharyam va. The question is whether to do vichara or not do vichara. No? Whether to do the analysis of Brahma Sutras or not do it. Why? Because Brahma Adhyasa Rupanat. Brahman has been described in terms of the Adhyasa. Okay. He says, Asandeha, there is no doubt. I am Karta Bhokta is very clear. Sarva Loka Anubhava. And what do you know by knowing Brahman, what do you get? Brahman hai. Theek hai, me Brahmu. All right. What can you do with it? Nothing. Avyavaharyam, etc. Afalatvaabhyam. No phalam. Na vicharam tadarhati. Therefore, there is no need for doing vichara. Kya karne ka hai? I mean, even the character who says, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, and he is teaching, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. तो भिक्षा के लिए जाते क्या नहीं है? खाना पीना करना पड़ता है क्या नहीं है? Now remember, Adhyasa has been explained. Adhyasa has been explained by Bhashyakara. So this is connecting it with the sutras. Okay, so it is clearly based on Lokanubhava. Pashvadi Vishesha, etc. Shankara has said it, not the Sutrakar. So here it is challenging there. Okay, and where it comes there. Therefore, Natadarhati. Not only that, first section, Jaimini has done it or not? Jaimini has analyzed the Veda, no? And he has made a very clear statement there. Amnayasya kriyartatvat anarthakyam matatarthanam. Amnayasya vedasya kriyartatvat, because it is meant for karma. Anarthakyam, uselessness for any other meaning. Therefore, to make it useful, we will put it as arthavada, etc. For Atma Jnanam, before doing a puja, you do Atma puja or not? So I say also Atma Jnanam, and you do the homa, you will get better phalam. Itna hi hai. Your Isavasi also says things like that. Na? Sambhuti, Asambhuti, all that. Yaad hai? Those who attended that Isavasi, or go listen to it again. So, na vicharyam. Na vicharam tadarhati. There is no need for vichara. All right. What is the answer to that then? Okay. Adhyasaha aham buddhi siddhaha. Adhyasa is aham buddhi siddhaha. The fact that you are an ahankara itself is the siddhi of adhyasa. You can't say adhyasa is not there. What you have taken as sarva loka anubhava is actually adhyasa. Why? Asangam Brahma Shrutiritam. This is the Shruti, the Upanishad, has revealed Brahman as Asangaha. Untouched by the body and mind, then how are you saying body and mind connection hai? But hai na, hai to adhyasa hai. It is there. We are not saying ayuktitva. It is not illogical. Of course it is illogical. Thank God it is illogical. Why? Because it is subject to dismissal then. Therefore it is illogical. That's why it is subject to dismissal. For what is taken as anubhava siddham of ahankara is purely because of adhyasa. Why? Brahman is asangaha. And what you are experiencing is all sangha only. And some people go so far to say sangam sharanam gacchami. Abhi kya bolega? Okay. Asandehat mukti bhavacha. And when you eliminate all these doubts, mukti bhavam cha. What is the phalam? Safalam it is, not nirphalam. Not afalam. There is a phalam. What is that? Moksha. Discovering yourself as moksha swarupaha. Therefore, vicharyam brahma vedataha. Therefore, Brahman has to be inquired into. So, what are you inquiring into? The pramana that deals with Brahman. Therefore, the pramana is the Shastra always. It comes Guru Mukhat. Why? Because a lot of things are not said. Veda will make a statement, pramana hai. It can make a statement and leave it. But a human mind has to understand it. A human mind that has taken myself as a finite entity has to understand the Vedic statement, the Upanishadic statement, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Pramana is clear. I go to the Guru, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. So Ashnate Sarvan Kaman. Go. The Upanishad is clear. So the pramana is always bahyam, external to you. This also has to be understood, that the pramana is not what you are using. If you are using the pramana, it will be tainted by your avidya. The student is not using the pramana. In fact, I have students come to me, they have done a lot of reading, this, that, etc., full of confusions. Full of confusions. Because you are using the pramana yourself, it is all tainted by your own avidya, by your own conclusions. I have one character who is an energy expert. He was an expert in Qigong. Anything I talk about Vedanta to him, he asks, only then I talk. When I talk to him, he converts it into his energy paradigm. I said, or 10 saal jayega. Because he is convinced. And he comes and tells me, the last step I cannot take. I said, you will not be able to take it like that. That is not the pramana for it. It's all experiential. So if you are using the pramana, it's tainted by your ignorance. You can't avoid it. It is tainted. So that's why the pramana has to be external. It has to come from Ishvara himself, not tainted by that ignorance. This will be clearer in Shastra Yonitvat. Guru Mukhat, because you need it to be understood. Therefore, there is a certain explanation, unfoldment available. Therefore, Shastra Rupena Guru Mukhat. It has to come. In no other way. There is no other way. And the learning is not complete until you have done the Brahma Sutra. Okay. So, the learning is what? Prasthanatrayi learning. Gita, the Upanishads and the Brahma Sutras. This much has to be learned. Swamiji, may sab sunao, still not clear for me. Pavana punyena shravanam kuryat. Again and again, listen. Check your adhikaritvam. Be some problem lurking somewhere. This happens. In fact, now at this stage in my life, children come and ask me, how can my dad or my mom behave like this after so many years of Vedanta? That is their growth area. That is an unresolved area in their lives. They are fine everywhere else. But when it comes to this issue, it's an unresolved area. That Viveka Vairagya has not gone to, Samadama has not gone there. Dhamma is there, Sama has not happened. Dhamma is there is certain restraint in behavior, therefore it doesn't go haywire. That much is there. But the sama, that processing. Adhikaritam is not something simple. All this is involved in it. So the whole process, in fact, of coming to Vedanta, etc., is explained in the first sutra. So the first sutra is Athato Brahma Jignasa. Okay. Four words.
Sama is restraint and Dhamma is, I forgot the...
Processing words inside. Mind mastery. Mind mastery is not just keeping calm, this, that, etc. See, this is a big mistake that people make. Calm down, focus, then you mastered your mind. No. Yoga Sutras also make it clear there are a lot of kleshas which you have to take care of. It is not just about quietening and being able to focus and being in the present. Psychological issues are there, those are kleshas. If you don't process that, mind mastery doesn't happen. Where will mind mastery happen? You are trying to sidestep an issue and come to this, which will be fine for a skill. If you are developing a skill of combat, etc., you can sidestep it and come. But if you are trying to understand yourself, you can't sidestep it, you have to go through it and process it. So any of you, if you have unresolved issue in your life, how do you know you have an unresolved issue? When your response to a situation is disproportionate to the situation. Either you are responding more or you are responding less. Let me give you a simple example. You are reading a book. Your 3-year-old nephew comes and starts calling you, uncle, uncle. What is your response? Don't irritate me, don't bug me. Disproportionate. The 3-year-old mind is hurt. You are scarring the person, creating a problem for that guy's future. Ignore, just focus. I will not be distracted by anything. Don't say anything. That's also not enough, no? What you are doing is serious. Yes. And your nephew, you are responsible for that person's growth also to an extent. Not as much as the parent, one step low. So what would be an appropriate response? Give the child that attention for a few minutes that it deserves. Don't look at it as a disturbance. If you are looking at it as a disturbance, there is a problem here that you are not dealt with. In fact, it's an emotional issue. More than thinking issue, it's an emotional issue. How are you going to deal with it? You cannot open up your heart to a 3-year-old child. What are you going to open your heart to Brahman? Revade. Yeah. A simple thing like that. It is not some big issue we are talking about. Yeah, a small issue like that will tell you. But that requires a lot of self-awareness. Yep. Yeah. Or the kid keeps coming and disturbs you, then you will blow up. Now you know. It's a big issue now in your mind. For you. The samadama is for a gadbad hai udhar. Why does it happen? Why does it happen? You look into your mind and see. Or sit down one-on-one and discuss with me, then we'll see. Yeah, there is no general answer. This happens because of this, this happens. It is not like that. You are a human being, not a machine. Yeah. Though sometimes you behave, you press this button, that character responds like that.
So one doubt.
Yeah.
So we say no, puna shravanam purva.
Yeah.
I should listen. Reading won't help.
Reasoning, without reasoning, how do you listen?
No, not reasoning. Reading.
Yeah, that is Svadhyaya. It supports Shravanam. So reading will support Shravanam. The videos are supporting your Shravanam. Everything is support. Yeah. So then, what is the meaning of these 4 terms that is there in the first sutra? What all it stands for? Okay, the whole elaboration we will start in the next class. Okay, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar.